the face of a fatal woman. Gene Tierney wasn't born to be a tragedy. She was born in Brooklyn Heights, the privileged daughter of an insurance executive, groomed for debutante balls, not death scenes. But when she appeared on screen in Laura, 1944, it was as if fate had cast her. Her beauty was chilling, icy, still. The kind of beauty that made directors shoot entire scenes around just the turn of her head. She didn't play femme fatales, she haunted them. In Leave Her to Heaven, she was so dangerously possessive, so elegantly unhinged. She won an Oscar nomination for drowning a child with her eyes. But real life had far crueler scripts in store. Chapter 2, The Baby, the Fan, and the Breakdown. During World War II, while doing her part for the war effort, Jean met an adoring fan at the Hollywood canteen. The woman had escaped quarantine to meet her, and proudly said so. Jean smiled politely. Months later, she gave birth to a daughter, Daria, who was born severely disabled, blind, and with brain damage caused by congenital rubella syndrome. It wasn't until years later that Jean realized that fan had given her German measles while pregnant. And the fan? She later told Jean, "It was worth it to meet you." The heartbreak fractured something deep inside. Jean became depressed, then unmoored. She wandered in and out of sanitariums. She received electroshock therapy, often against her will. Her memory splintered. Her relationships with men became jagged and incomplete. Chapter 3, Lovers, Liars, and Men Who Couldn't Save Her. Gene Tierney didn't date. She collected legends. Howard Hughes pursued her with the persistence of a man used to getting what he wanted. He reportedly offered to buy her an entire airline. She turned him down, but they remained strange, platonic friends. Prince Aly Khan wanted to marry her, but his Playboy past and unresolved drama with Rita Hayworth made her wary. John F. Kennedy, years before Camelot, courted Jean passionately. But when he told her he'd never marry her because she'd be a political liability due to her mental health history, she walked away, shattered. But it was Oleg Cassini, the debonair fashion designer and future Jackie Kennedy stylist, who came closest to being her real love. They married, they divorced, they remarried. They didn't survive the grief of Daria. But Jean said he was the one who saw me most clearly and loved me anyway. Chapter 4, The Ledge. By 1957, Jean was exhausted. The beauty everyone admired had become a burden. She could barely remember her lines, could barely remember herself. One day, she found herself staring out a 14th-floor hotel window above 57th Street in Manhattan. She looked down, wondered how her body would land, how long it would take to fall, whether anyone would care. She didn't jump. Instead, she checked herself in again and fought. Chapter 5, The Comeback, Nobody Saw Coming. Gene Tierney slowly returned to acting, small roles, a whisper of her former self, but still elegant, still dignified. She remarried in the 60s, this time to an oil baron, and found something close to peace. In 1979, she published her memoir, Self-Portrait, and for the first time, people saw what had really been behind those hypnotic eyes. Not mystery, not seduction, but pain and survival. Final curtain. Gene Tierney was one of the most beautiful women to ever grace the silver screen. But her story isn't about beauty. It's about endurance. She lived through the things most starlets were shielded from: disease, madness, electroshock, heartbreak, and still stood up to tell the tale. She didn't drown like Ellen and Leave Her to Heaven. She didn't fade into obscurity like so many of her peers. She stood on the ledge and didn't jump, and somehow that had made her more iconic than ever. We love you. We mean it, just like in old Hollywood.